What's going on, guys? Happy Friday. Going to be our last Friday here not our last Friday, our last one here for the next week. We'll be back next Friday, obviously heading into the All-Star break. Have a lot of good weekend matchups coming up. Another losing day, so 2 of those in a row. Had a split yesterday. The larger one, the 2 units with the Marlins, didn't get it done. A little bit of a pitching duel there and just got blanked by St. Louis. But looking to get back on track. A lot of great weekend matchups, division matchups, obviously heading into the All-Star break. These last series here has a lot of implications. So, John, how you doing today? You ready for this big weekend?
I am, and looks like the line makers are ready also. But some really good numbers today. I've only made one bet, got a bunch of leans. They did a good job. Yesterday, after winning the Reds game in the afternoon, we took actually a couple of L's at night, going on the Marlins and then also Tampa Bay. When that number just had gotten so low and without Real Muto in the lineup for Philly, just saw that as a spot minus 125. The game actually closed at 135, but thought Tampa Bay would salvage one game. So Tampa Bay comes off having the best record in Major League best home record in Major League Baseball and gets swept by it. A red-hot Philly team. We'll talk more about what they're doing on the road because they're the first game today.
Yes, they are, and they get just a little travel. They're going on into Miami. Going to be Wheeler versus Alcantara. This is a big start for Alcantara. I mean, this Marlins team been very competitive all first half with their Cy Young pitcher pitching like shit. So going up against a divisional battle here, they have a slight lead on Phillies, both in the wild card and in the division. We'll see if he can show up. He was roughed up his last time out by the Braves for 4 runs. He had a quality start against Boston before that. Was decent against the Phillies last year, but earlier this year, 9 runs, 10 hits against Philly. That's really tough. And then Wheeler, they've won his last 5 starts. Last 2, though, gave up 9 runs and 10 in the third. To me, this game's Phillies or nobody. I'm not buying into Alcantara having any kind of a bounce back start here. Just going onward into the second half of the season is a big start for him. Phillies or nobody. I don't want to be laying Wheeler as a favorite on the road. Both teams playing pretty well. Marlins didn't show up yesterday. Maybe looking on to this series with Philly. So weird read all around, but Phillies are nobody for me, John.
Looks like they were looking ahead to this game after scoring an average of 10 a game in the first 3 against the Cards. They get blanked by Flaherty. That's one of the games we lost. And so Flaherty gave up 9 hits in 6 1/3 innings, okay, and held them scoreless. First pitcher this year to do that. This when you start to go bad, these are the fucking things that happen. So no other pitcher has even given up 8 hits in 6 1/3 and held the other team scoreless. So Flaherty gets away with giving up 9 hits. So Marlins get the hits, just don't put them together to get any runs on the board. But averaging 10 runs per game before that, Marlins strong home team, 6-2 their last 8, 4th best record at home. But we all know what's going on with Philly. Since I kept getting on Philly as a terrible road team, haven't finished above 500 on the road in over a decade. Well, they've just won their last 12 road games. Really gets the pitching edge here. Alcantara, just not even a resemblance of what the Cy Young was last year. And the sharps are all over the Phillies in this one. This game opened to minus 110. It's up to minus 128 now. I don't see it as bad as Alcantara has been, as hot as the Phillies are on the road. It's still Miami at home. Expect Alcantara to keep in the game. Wheeler hasn't been lights out his last couple of starts. A little bit high. I'm the dog, if anybody, if it goes higher, and that says if everybody's in the lineup and stuff. But no bet on it yet.
Then we have another divisional battle. Reds at Milwaukee. Reds currently with a 2-game lead on the division here. Brewers do have success in the matchup. They've won 8 of the last 10 meetings, 6 of the last 9 in Milwaukee. And it's a great pitching matchup. Abbott versus Burns. You guys know the story with Abbott. They've won all 6 of his starts, 5 of them quality starts. Last 2, just 2 runs in 13 2/3, 20 Ks, 4 walks versus the Padres and Orioles. And he did have 6 shutout innings against Milwaukee in his debut. Then Burns, who's coming off a quality start, 2 runs, 1 hit, 7 innings against the Pirates. And prior to that, got roughed up a little bit. He had a quality start versus the Reds earlier this year, had a 2.19 ERA versus them last year. Great pitching matchup. You have Cincy coming in, just beating up on the Nationals, worst home team in baseball. And then you have this Milwaukee team who is been playing decent right now. And, this is a big series for them, obviously. Tough to go against their ace in this. You're the ace. You're 2 games back of the team. You need a big performance. Still Cincy or nobody. Getting dog price with Abbott and this hot Reds team. Just want a little bit more on that price if you're going to be going against Burns at home in this spot. Big series for the Brewers.
Exactly. It's you're looking at right now about -115 with Burns, the Milwaukee's ace. And look, at Cincinnati, I wanted Cincinnati, but this is what I'm talking about. The line makers did a good job here. This number is close. Cincy 20-4 their last 24 games, 14-1 their last 15 road games. No, just stay on that train. But Milwaukee playing good also, and they've won 8 of the last 10 meetings, 6 of 9 in Milwaukee. Abbott did shut Milwaukee down. You guys know the story with Milwaukee. They don't hit lefties, just 223 versus left-handers. Same thing. Wanted a bigger price to take Cincy and keep that streak going. It's Cincy and nobody. Just need a higher number. And again, they did a good job today with the lines. Solid lines.
Pirates at D-backs. Pirates went from red hot to back to ice cold, dropped 5 of 6, scoring 4.7 runs per game, 2-12, the last 14 on the road. And Arizona, everything's kind of falling apart for them at once. They've now lost 4 straight. Corbin Carroll had some kind of shoulder issue, non-contact injury, similar to Mike Trout's. Could end up being problematic there. Hopefully it's nothing like a torn something in the shoulder. We'll see what's going on there. Doubt he plays tonight. They probably give him the rest of till the All-Star break to get back together. I would imagine. We'll see if that's the case. D-backs, they have won 5 of the last 7 meetings, 3 of the last 4 in Arizona. Hill versus Gallen. Gallen at home, guys. You guys know the story there. 8-0, 1.50 ERA. Last home start wasn't as dominant, but he's just been so great this season. Can't really go against it. So Gallen at home. It's that or nothing. Laid the price. Pirates struggling on the road right now. He did get roughed up by the Pirates earlier this year. Give up 8 runs, but again, at Pittsburgh, his reverse splits or his splits home and away pretty crazy. So D-backs are nobody on the run line for me, John.
Yeah, well, Pirates get Hayes back also, so they're back to full strength last night. The only thing that kept us off the Pirates last night was actually the night before. We're actually looking at a couple of teams maybe just starting to turn it around. The Dodgers, the Padres, the Mets. And it looked like the Dodgers, they got off the deck 2 nights ago, down 4-0. They come back with a 6-4 win. And with Urias going, he looked terrible, had bad numbers against Pittsburgh. This is one of these gut intuitions after 40 years where the numbers are saying something, and you just say, no, it's just not the Pirates' night tonight. That's how I felt last night. Now Pirates going to Arizona, as Ben said, Arizona, everything falling apart. Carroll, their electric player, he's got a problem with the shoulder. That kept him out earlier last week. So this looks like an injury, and if they don't keep him out for the All-Star break, it'd be amazing. He might even wind up on the IL. Galen, huge pitching advantage in this one, but as bad as they're going right now, Arizona, and without Carroll, I'm not looking to lay that price. We'll just stay off this one.
The Mets at Padres, a couple of teams been 2 most disappointing teams this year trying to turn it around. Mets, they have recently. They've won 5 straight, scoring 6.2 runs per game. They beat up on Arizona. Padres coming off 3-game sweep against the Angels. So both these teams are getting a lot of slack. We'll see which one stays hot to the break. Verlander versus Darvish. Verlander, last 2 starts, 1 run in 12 innings. Has been worse on the road, though. 1.2, 5.6 ERA. And then Darvish, he will be making his first start since June 21st. Had a little bit of an illness. Last 3 starts, 14 runs, 20 hits, and 16 in the third. He's been struggling. He is better at home. Had great numbers against the Mets last year, 3-0, .86 in 3 starts. But earlier this year was roughed up for 5 runs. This is really weird matchup. Lean to the Mets in this matchup, getting dog money with a hot team right now. Darvish with the illness hasn't been pitching well recently. Yes, Verlander's road struggles worry me a little bit. But this Mets team, they had some crazy wins there in that little 5-game stretch. They had some rallies from behind, and the things seem to be going their way right now. We'll see if Verlander can give them a big start, a little bit of a playoff revenge factor as well. Yes, they did get it, obviously, back in New York earlier this year. They won 2 of 3, but definitely still lingering from that. This is Mets or no one for me, John.
Yeah, I lean Mets. I just don't want to say Mets or nobody. Verlander's got to show us a little bit more. I'm going to give him the pitching advantage because Darvish will be making his first start in over 2 weeks with this illness. Both teams, like I said, just are they both turning the corner? And if they are, they're turning the corner and meeting each other. So who'll survive this series of teams that are turning it around? Verlander gets the pitching edge. San Diego was off yesterday. Mets played last night. Got to come into San Diego. I'd have to, again, same thing. Would be Mets at a bigger number. Not interested at this number.
And Rockies at Giants, two teams struggling right now. Rockies, they've lost 4 straight. They're the NL worst, 13-31 on the road. Then you have this Giants team. They get the win over Seattle the other day, just too well, though. They've lost 4 or 5, scoring 2.4 runs per game. They're hitting just 210 this week. This is kind of has a feel of a little bit of a chicken soup series here for the Giants heading into the All-Star break. You get Rockies at home, who they just dominate. They have won the last 11 meetings, all 3 this season in Colorado, and 15 of the last 19 in San Francisco. So some ownership there for San Francisco. Gomber on the mound for the Rockies. He's decent on the road. Still not that great, though. 4.93 ERA. He's decent against the Giants as well. 1-1, 5.40 last year. Stripling going for San Francisco. Spot starter. He's been going about 3 innings in his outings. This is a big number here for the Giants, who are playing pretty cold right now. Slightest of possible leans to the Rockies just because it's such a big price for Stripling. But this series, like I said, has that feel of a get-right series here for San Francisco. So series read, it looks like the Giants' time to turn it around. We'll see if that's the case, John.
We are expecting Gomber, but he's actually not officially named the pitcher. With Gomber as the pitcher, even though Stripling is a spot starter at best, because San Fran just absolutely dominates them, my number on the game is -160. Right now, you've got Sports 411 has got -159, and DraftKings has got -165. So I'm right there with the line. That's what the line's supposed to be in this game. Again, we're still waiting for an official pitcher. We think it's going to be Gomber.
Then we're going to have Blue Jays at Detroit. The return of Alek Manoah. We'll see how it goes. His couple of rookie ball starts. Last one was better. Did not have good numbers. Excuse me. Obviously, earlier this season, they lost his 7 prior starts. Did have a decent outing against Detroit. They won that game 3 runs and 4 to 3rd. That was decent for what he was doing earlier this year. He went 0-1, 6.75 versus them last year. And Fado, he's making his first start since May 30. So this is it's tough to want to go against Manoah with Fado since it's also his first start back. Still will be a lean of the Tigers. They do decent in this matchup. Toronto right now, they're coming off a doubleheader. That makes this all the more appealing if Manoah only has a couple of innings in him, and then you need to go to the bullpen. So we'll see how that goes. The spot makes it more appealing here for Detroit with Fado on the mound. Really, any other pitcher in this rotation, it'd be really easy to go on Detroit in this spot. Just Fado makes it a bit more difficult. So Tigers are nobody here. Spots all them. Blue Jays off a doubleheader. Manoah returning back up. Just tough to go on Fado, John.
Absolutely. Had this game circled. We've been talking about it since he was sent down. You guys remember with Fade and Manoah constantly. We're going ready to do so today, especially a doubleheader, coming off a doubleheader with travel. Tigers played in the afternoon, but Fado not only just coming back, his rehab start, he gives up 4 runs, 6 hits, and 3 in the 3rd innings. So just don't want to back that. I'll back it, but again, at the right price, just not enough. Again, line maker's doing a good job with the numbers here. Detroit or anybody because of the spot, because of Manoah coming back, but it's got to be at the right number, and it's just not juicy enough to take the Tigers against the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and as much as we were fading Manoah earlier this year, there's also the chance he's very much so undervalued if he's anything back to what he was last season. So going to be something to watch for in his start, how good he looks returning if he's anything back to himself. Royals at Guardians. I actually like KC in this spot. Don't like saying that out loud, but I like KC in this spot. It's Lynch versus Savall. Lynch, last start, 3 runs in 5 innings. He's had 3 road starts this year, all 3 of them quality starts. He's 1-1, 1.89 in those. Cleveland cracked him last year, 11 runs, 17 hits, and 8 2/3. Savall, 2 of his last 3 starts, quality starts, held the Cubs to 1 run last time out. Was good against the Royals, 2-0, 2.82 last year. This is a Cleveland team playing good ball right now, beating up on Kansas City like they're supposed to. They've dominated this matchup, 10 of the last 12 meetings in Kansas City or in Cleveland. They've won 3 or 4 meetings this year. Just good pitching there from Lynch. Give him the pitching edge in this matchup. It's a big dog price for a team with a pitching edge. Yesterday, Cleveland put up 5 runs, nothing crazy. Kansas City playing really bad right now. We'll see if they can get back on track. Just lean has to go to Kansas City for me with the pitching edge and this big price.
Just tough to look. These are two of your worst offensive teams in baseball. Royals worst road record in baseball. Worst run producing team on the road, just 3.27 runs per game. Cleveland 29th scoring at home, 3.56 runs per game. Give Lynch the pitching edge. I see what Ben, what he favors, what he likes about the KC game. I just can't get there. Cleveland in the middle of a pennant race with the Twins now a game and a half back. If they're going to get there, they've got to beat up teams like KC while Twins are hosting the Orioles today. I think it's a fair number. I'm not touching this one either.
Then A's taking a trip to Boston. They got blank 9-0 at Detroit, but they have won 4 of 6. Then you have this Boston team taking care of business against Texas. They're playing good ball right now. They've won 5 of 6. It's Medina, going to be a bullpen game here for Boston. Red Sox only 3 games out of that final wild card spot. They're last in the East, but they're very much so in the hunt. You get Oakland here heading into the All-Star break, winning 5 of 6. Very much so for like the Giants, just riding in with Colorado. Has that feel to it big time. They won 5 of 6 meetings last year. I expect them to take care of business in this. Medina last start was decent. Did have 12 walks, though, in his last 2 starts. Been walking a lot of batters. Fenway's the last place you want to be giving free runners on base to. So this has a feeling of a series where Boston's going to go into the All-Star break with another 3 wins under the belt and might be getting closer to that wild card race.
Red Sox, they get hot, they get cold. They went up to Toronto, got red hot. Before that, they got swept at home. Now back home, they take 2 out of 3 from Texas. They've won 5 of 6, scoring 5.5 runs a game while hitting .310, and they hit well at Fenway, 288. But you're going with a bullpen game in this one. This kid Bernardino just opened. This will be the second time he's going to open in his career, and he just opened. I guess it was on Tuesday when he pitched against the Rangers. Another game. It's a big number. It belongs to be a big number. I don't see an edge in this one.
Mariners get it done against the Astros last night. 5-1 win there. They've won 3 or 4 meetings this season. Both teams playing good ball right now, though. Seattle, they've won 5 of 6. Stros, they're 7-2 their last 9. Castillo versus Brown. Castillo, 6 road starts. Mariners have lost all 6 of his road starts. He's 0-4 with a 4.24 ERA there. Last time out, gave up 6 runs, 2 homers, and 6 innings versus the Rays. So a little bit of struggles there. Decent numbers against Houston. And then you have Brown, who's coming off start against the Dodgers, gave up 3 runs in 4 2/3. He was pitching decent before that. This is just look at that Castillo stat of the Mariners 0-6 on the road. Houston playing good ball right now. Chance to even up the series. This would be Astros or nothing for me. I want a little bit of a cheaper price, but this number's right there. It'd be Houston still for me.
Well, this game opened up minus 125 last night, and you're basically down to a pick-em game. So the money's on the short. I'm not jumping on Castillo on this one. I think the number's right where it belongs right now. Just remember, you've already got Alvarez on the IL for Houston. Yesterday, they put Altuve there. So you take 2 of those sticks out of the lineup. But Castillo hasn't been the same. Got off to a phenomenal start this year, especially at home. But he hasn't been the same. Brown also hit and miss. Game's right at the right number again. And we'll just sit and pass on this one unless we get a lineup or a big line move.
Orioles coming off a big dominant performance, beat the Yankees 14-1 last night. They won the last 2 in that series. They are starting to piece it together, maybe getting hot before the break. We'll see if they can carry it into this series at Minnesota. Twins coming off beating up on Kansas City. They've won 5 of 6. This is Irvin versus Ober. Ober definitely gets the pitching edge, 4 straight quality starts. And then you have Irvin, whose last start was against Minnesota, allowed 1 run in 5 innings. This is a tough read on Baltimore. Did they turn it around? Are they back to the team we were seeing for the majority of the first half of the season? If so, this game's all Orioles. Just question is, did those bats truly wake up there in the last 2 games in the Yankee series? So want Orioles at the dog price here. The pitching edge makes it tough to go against. And then there's also what Orioles team are we getting? So if they did pick it up, this is Baltimore or nobody. Tough to get a read on them coming out of that series.
We had Irvin in his last start against Minnesota, and we got the W there. Orioles were not hitting at all till the last 2 games of the Yankee series, starting to hit a little bit. Still missing Hayes. Hayes has got the fifth best batting average in MLB. He's missed the last 4 games. He's questionable again today. Irvin, he was slaughtered early in the year, absolutely crushed. Since he's been back, serviceable. 1-1 with a 3.48 ERA. Ober's been real good. 4 straight quality starts, and he was great against the Orioles his last start, holding them to 2 hits. Ober still gets the big pitching advantage. Minnesota is good baseball team at home, but Orioles, best baseball team, best AL baseball team on the road. Need Hazen, need a bigger number.
Yeah.
With Baltimore or nobody.
Then the matchup of the weekend, Braves at Tampa Bay, best records in the NL and AL. You have this Atlanta team just absolutely red hot right now. Was it 10 of 11? They've won 9 of 10. They've won 18-2 their last 20. You guys know the story with their offense, just beating up on pretty much everybody. And then you have this Tampa team who just got swept by Philly. They've now lost 5 straight. It's got to be Braves or nobody. You're getting a pick-em price with the hottest team in baseball. Pitching edge, you could argue either side. Morton versus Glasnow. Morton coming on 5.2 shutout innings against the Marlins. Glasnow last 2 starts, 4 runs and 10 2/3, but did have 23 Ks, 2 walks. For you prop guys, might be interested in that. When the Dodgers were in town and they got Glasnow, a lot of strikeouts in that matchup as well, but they got to him. I imagine something similar here. I don't know if anyone can hold down this Braves offense right now. Can't overthink it. You're just getting an even price with the best team in baseball is absolutely on fire against an ice-cold team right now.
Don't want to sell short what Glasnow did with 23 Ks over the last 2 games. Just keep in mind, Casey, 6th in the league in strikeouts. Mariners, 2nd in the league in strikeouts. I'm just broiling this down to something real simple. Atlanta, 18-2 in their last 20 games. Tampa Bay, 6-11. Their last 17. One team on fire, one team not. Tampa Bay blanked last night, extra inning game. Braves had the day off. This is my one bet today. I took Braves at even, a 2-unit bet.
And we have Cubs at Yankees. This Cubbies team playing pretty rough right now. They did split at Milwaukee, but just 3-8 their last 11. Meanwhile, Yankees crushed by Baltimore yesterday, 14-1. They split that series as well. Yankees crushed the Cubs last year, won all 3 meetings by combined 28-5. Tejon versus Rodon, going to get the Yankee debut for Rodon today. We'll see what we get out of him. He was decent in his rehab starts, 1 earned run in 10 2/3, and good numbers against the Cubs last year, 2 runs in 12 1/3, 21 Ks, 1 walk. How much of a leash is he going to have? How much of a rust factor is there going to be? Pitching in Yankee Stadium, very pitcher-friendly ballpark. I mean, you kind of go complete splits there from pitching in San Francisco to Yankee Stadium, just completely different in that sense. We'll see what we get. Tejon, last 3 starts, 15 runs and 15 1/3. So he's been going rough, going against a team he pitched for last year. See if there's anything to that. This game to me is Cubs are nobody. As bad as Tejon's been, Rodon, how far is he going to be able to go in this? Yankees bats fell off the last couple of games there against Baltimore. See if there's any carryover. Cubs not playing good ball right now, but just got to go against those spots. Pitchers first start of the season.
As much as I want, I just couldn't back Tejon in this spot, especially because Swanson didn't play yesterday. He's going to be questionable again today. If I knew he was out, maybe a little different. Rodon, you don't expect much. He pitched 10 2/3 innings, looked good, but it took him 3 starts to do that. He won't be around after the 4th inning. In this one, he'll probably be on a 70-pitch limit, something like that. Yankees played a little bit decent ball, but then these last 2 games, they're back to not hitting, and that's the story with the Yankees with Judge out of the lineup. Big number, but again, Tejon just absolutely slaughtered, close to a 7 ERA in the season. Without knowing I got Swanson, I laid off on this one, but got no problem. It's Cubs or nobody because of the high number and how long we think Rodon will be going for a team that cannot hit, the Yankees.
And the ice-cold Rangers get a bit of a gift playing at Washington this weekend, heading into the break, chance to get right possibly. They've lost 4 of 5. They're 4-9, their last 13, playing bad ball right now. Meanwhile, this Nationals team got swept by Cincinnati. So a couple of teams struggling. I would imagine Rangers bounce back more so. You guys know the story with the Nats at home. Bradford versus Williams. I mean, Williams might have the pitching edge here. Bradford just making a spot start. Through 2.1 scoreless innings in relief on the 3rd. So he's going to have a little bit of a leash, I imagine, not go too far in this one. And Williams, last time out, 3 runs in 5 innings and a win against the Phillies. He's 2-0, 3.60 last 3 starts, been going decent. it's the spot is all for the Rangers to get right here in this series. We'll see if that's the case. But Williams has the pitching edge. Nats are just horrible at home, tough to go with. I actually like the over in this matchup. I think we're gonna get a lot of runs in this one.
This is the only spot that Texas could be playing today to be this big a favorite. This team at home is just absolutely horrible. Well, let's run the numbers for the guys that don't watch us every day. This is we're against Washington, 3 of the 4 games with Cincinnati, while the shops were fucking betting Nationals every day that they were going to win one of those games. Anyway, Nationals now dropped 14 of their last 15 games. They scored just 3.59 runs per game at home. National League worst, 13-31 at home. The only bright spot, they do hit 277 versus left-handed pitching. But Candelario, he left the game yesterday. He's going to be questionable. Any other spot? This was, I'm watching Texas. You could see them gagging it up since they lost 3 of 4 at home to Houston, dropped 2 of 3 now to the Red Sox. Coming to Washington, this is the one safe landing spot on the road that they probably could have. But the number is too high for a team that's ice cold. Texas right now. They still score, hitting 275. They still lead the league hitting 275, scoring 5.9 runs per game, but they're cold right now.
And Cardinals at the White Sox. Cards prevent getting swept yesterday, 3-0 win at Miami. And then this White Sox team, they did get swept. They lost both games in a doubleheader to Toronto yesterday. They've now lost 5 of 6. Montgomery versus Cease, pretty good pitching matchup. Montgomery, last 5 starts, all quality starts, 4-0, 1.40 ERA, allowed 1 run against the Yankees last time out. And then Cease, last time out, gave up 3 runs and 5 1/3 versus the A's. He was going pretty solid in June. This is Cardinals with a pitching edge. Montgomery been dominant these last 5 starts, and White Sox coming off a doubleheader. So pitching edge with a spot there that favors St. Louis. Yes, they're not playing good baseball right now, but again, another chance to beat up on an AL Central team. This to me is Cards or nobody.
Yeah, Montgomery's been dynamite. He started off the year nice. He had a real rough patch, but now 5 straight quality starts, 4-0, 1.40. Got to give him the pitching advantage over Cease. Cease, a little banged up his last time out, but he pitched real good in June. 5 June starts, 2.20 ERA, but still giving Montgomery the pitching edge. White Sox did play the doubleheader. Their season is over. I think St. Louis still thinks his season's going on. Just not a good team. They gave Goldschmidt off last night. Will they give anybody off today? We'll see. It's St. Louis nobody just because the White Sox are that bad. And Cease, even if he gives you a good game, ain't going past 6 innings. The one thing you got to watch out for, they're going to need Montgomery to give him some length. They used 3 relief pitches in the last 2 games, Stratton, Gallegos, and Hicks. Hicks already, they've said, is not available to close. And remember that before last night, the day before, Liberatore registered just 1 out. So they used plenty of the pen. So it kind of evens out with the White Sox playing a doubleheader yesterday. But St. Louis or nobody. But again, the line is the right line.
And then last game on the card, we had the Freeway Series, Angels versus the Dodgers. Angels, ice cold, 7 of 8. They've now lost, scoring 3.2 runs per game, hitting 203 this week. And then you have this Dodgers team. They won 3 of 4 against Pittsburgh, playing good ball. They just dominate this matchup. 15 of the last 8 meetings, 8 straight by a combined 39-8. Angels can't score in this matchup for whatever reason. Might be worth a look at their team total under. Not something I bet too often, but team total set at +3.5 at +105 to go under that. Might be worth a look in this one. Canning versus Gonsolin. Canning roughed up his last time out for 5 runs. Prior to that, had a pair of quality starts. And Gonsolin, he's been struggling. They've lost 4 of his last 5 starts. In the last 3, give up 15 runs across 14 1/3. So this might be his get-right situation here, pitching at home against the Angels. I have no interest in the Angels in this matchup. They're ice cold right now. Dodgers absolutely own them. To me, this game's playing the Dodgers on a run line or maybe even the Angels team total under.
Only thing Dodgers have going against him is Gonsolin's not been right in his last few starts. And he's got hit hard. But this is a Dodger team. Looks like they're turning the corner. Angels turning the corner, but for the worst. You guys know the story. They're all banged up. They're hoping to get Rendon back. You've got Trout, Drury, Nito, all on the injured list, and you've got Urshela. He's going to be out for the rest of the year. So we're banged up, losing. Angel team coming into a Dodger squad, turning the corner that absolutely owns them. Just Gonsolin, the one thing, has not pitched real good. But again, I'm not. It's Dodgers and nobody, but I'm not laying this price, especially with Gonsolin, who hasn't been sharp now in his last 3 starts.
Yeah, if Angels drop these last 2, they will have fallen below 500 by the All-Star break. So just an absolute fall off for them. A lot of great matchups today, guys. Division battles, even some of these interleague ones, Angels, Dodgers, Braves, Rays, obviously. So great matchups over the weekend. But like John said, great line makers as well. We have some tough lines going on today. We'll see if lineups adjust to anything. Been a weird week as far as day games, the holiday, you're heading into the All-Star break. So each day you got to be kind of careful with lineups. If you guys want that information throughout the day, sign up on the How to Beat the Bookie website or download the app. You guys will get that all throughout the weekend. And John, we won't be here next week until Friday.
It's vacation time, so I'll be taking my yearly trip. I'm reside in Florida. I'll do my yearly trip. We'll go up, take the next few days for a Monday, drive up, be up in New York. By next Friday, we'll do our live from there, and then pretty much we'll be in New York and Connecticut till we decide what time we're going to come back to Florida to miss hurricane season sometime before football kicks off. But yeah, I need the break. This is a good time to get a break. We heat up after All-Star break. Thought we we're going to go into All-Star break red hot. The other night, Wednesday night, lose a couple of heartbreakers. We talked about it yesterday. 2 games, 2 teams down to their last strike. They both come back to win to beat us. We had 3 games going into the 9th inning and lose 2 of them. Just heartbreaking. And then they got the carryover yesterday. 2 games that we scored 1 run combined in the 2 games. Marlins scoring 10 runs per game in their last 3, come up blanked. And Tampa Bay, 3rd in scoring for the year. They only get 1 run in extra innings with the against the Phillies. We'll come back today. Today, my one bet, Atlanta, 2 units so far. Got a lot of leans. Got to see if we've had those numbers become a little more juicy. And that's it, guys. We'll be back next Friday. So How to Beat the Bookie, that's the spot where you want to go. Best sports betting information you can get anywhere. Once football season kicks in, same price, baseball, football. We'll have a carryover at the end of October for a few days when you've got World Series playoffs action, NBA and NFL. Again, all same price. No mega whale bets to charge you extra. Go to the website, howtobeatthebookie.com.
Yep, John, let's get hot heading into the All-Star break here, and let's make some money.
And let's make some money.